This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, this is Vikram. I'm having around like 11 years of experience, and I was part of this migration. Like some 10 years back, right? We used to have only the physical servers. So after that, right, we moved to some VMware, Zen, right? So I was part of this migration, and I worked on clouds like uh, AWS, Azure, as well as the OpenStack. So yeah, let's start with the training. First, we'll understand like the key concept, like what is virtualization. Okay, normally right, some 10 years back, right, we used to have some like, let us assume like I want to install one application which has application server. Okay, and I have one DB server. Okay, for this setup, right, I would need some two servers. One is for installing the application server and one is for Oracle. Okay, Oracle can't be installed on the same machine, no? So you need two instances, and for this also I need some good configuration. I will be having something like some 50 vCPU, from 50 CPU here, and here some 40 CPU. Okay, and I will be, and this is some 500 GB hard disk, and this is one some 2 terabytes. Okay, or something like that, 2 terabytes. But my utilization is like, I have bought this like forecasting like this will serve for my next 5 years or next 10 years. But what happened suddenly, right, due to the competition in the global market, there are some multiple competitors, and the resource utilization, what for the people who are accessing these machines are very less. It is consuming only 20% of CPU, and this as well is consuming some 20% of CPU. So I have invested a lot in my physical infrastructure. Okay, now during that time there came some concept called as virtualization. So this virtualization is the key for any cloud. Okay, so they will have a big, like now we are having some two physical servers which are having some 50 CPU and 40 CPU, altogether 90 CPU, right? So what they will do, right, they will procure some 100 CPU machine. Okay, and it is having some 2.5 TB hard disk. Now instead of installing OS, they will be installing a thin layer called as hypervisor. Okay, on the core hardware, first you will have hardware. This is your hardware. On top of your hardware, they will install a thin layer of software that is called as a hypervisor. This hypervisor will facilitate to run multiple guest operating systems. Okay, so here I was able to install only one OS. Here I will be able to install only one OS. On top of it, I was installing application server. Here I'm installing my DB server. When it comes to virtualizer, when we have this hypervisor in place, okay, now I can install two guest operating systems. Okay, one like this is my OS. I'll split into two. Yeah, this is my OS, and this is my application server. This is my OS. This is my DB server. So any cloud you take, right, what they will do, right, from Intel or AMD or whatever, they will procure a high-end configuration machines and they will do the virtualization. Okay, for even for Azure and AWS, right? They will be using the hypervisor. For Azure, they will be using the Azure hypervisor. Okay, for Amazon, they will be using the Zen. So everyone will have their own hypervisors. So the virtualization in layman terms, if you speak, right, is a process of creating multiple instances or multiple servers under one hardware. Okay, so Azure uses something like a Azure hypervisor. Okay, basically there are two types of hypervisors. I think you people know, like in if you are having some desktop, you will be installing VMware on top of it. Basically there are two types of hypervisors. One is type 1 and one is type 2. So this is the type 1. In type 1, what you will have, right, you will be having some hardware like our laptop. Sorry, this is the type 2. Okay, so you will be having hardware on top of it, right? You will be having some hypervisor. Here you will be having Azure hypervisor. In case of Azure, if it is a uh, AWS, no, you will be having Zen. On top of it, right, you will be spinning multiple operating systems and you will be installing the applications on top of it. This is the type 1. Okay, this model we will see in all the cloud. In all the clouds, they will be going with this one. There is one more type called as type 2. In type 2, what we will have, right, you will have hardware. On top of hardware, you will be having operating systems. Like let us assume this is my hardware. In my hardware, I'm installing my Windows OS. Okay, on my Windows OS, there will be one component called, there will be like hypervisor that will be installed. Okay, this hypervisor provider will be like VMware. If you see, I'm having some VMware. Okay, in my VMware, I can spin multiple operating systems. So that comes under the type 2. So the problem with the type 2 is, let us assume this OS crashes. Okay, because this hypervisor is dependent on this operating system. If there is a failure in this operating system, no, then all the instances which are running on that hypervisor will be terminated, not terminated, will be impacted. Okay, so this is the hypervisor. Then we'll come to the cloud computing basics. So using this hypervisor technology, different cloud vendors has provided or like providing the this cloud computing solution. Basically, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing, basically cloud computing is something like using some console, okay, using some interface like web UI or SDK or whatever over internet, right? You will be able to like spin some instances. Okay, you will be able to create some infrastructure. If you take if you take one real-time example, how you will have your office. Let us assume like I'm working for some TCS. Okay, in TCS, right, I will be having multiple projects. Okay, I will assume these are the multiple ODCs. Okay, this is ODC 1. This is ODC 3. Okay, in each ODC you will be having different servers where your applications will be running, and you will be having desktops, which are present in that particular network in your ODC, and these can't be accessible from other ODC. So like that, you will be having something like this. So, and each one is running individual projects. Okay, now for maintenance of this data center, let us assume like for maintaining this data center, right, you need multiple people over here. You need someone like networking team. You need for procuring hardware, there will be some you have to maintain some inventory. You can't directly buy that. There will be some store management who will be assigned to like do the labeling and get that hardware into the company. Okay, and there will be some admins, okay, for installing the OS. There will be some networking team, there will be some storage team, okay, and for cabling or connecting the networks, right, like networking, I mean like LAN, for your desktops maintenance and all those, right, you need these people to operate these ODCs. Okay, now whenever we move to cloud, the same infra, if I move to cloud, no, what will happen, right? In cloud also, if they move the TCS things to move all the infrastructure to cloud, to Azure, so whatever the dependent component is there, like either it can be network or hardware or something like a OS installation, um, backup stream, everything will be provided by the Azure. Okay, everything, these all the infrastructure maintenance and everything will be provided by the Azure. So our job is to, if you are from development team, just to create an instance and use it. That is cloud basically. They are like, I don't want to go, there will be something like virtual network. You will create a separate virtual network for ODC1. So virtual network is something like, it is a logically separated unit. Okay, I don't want to go to the technical terms to resemble this, but here whenever it resembles to cloud, no, yeah, whenever, okay, whenever it moves to cloud, no, what they will do, right, here they will create a virtual network. Okay, like that they will create 3 virtual networks such that this entity or this unit won't talk to the other ODC. Like that they will be creating. If you see your now we are now, due to this pandemic, right, everyone is working from home. So previously you used to have the desktop at your place and you will be having the CPU also with you. Now, right, everything is hosted in cloud. Means all your infrastructure and the VM is present in some cloud. Either it can be Azure or it can be AWS or Google Cloud. Just you will spin the instance and you will log in and you will use it. The backend processing and the cabling and everything will be maintained by the cloud provider. That is cloud basically. So cloud computing is using of the computing resources built by someone through some web based tool. Okay, now we are having some SDKs, we are having some CLIs, okay, to access the cloud resources. And there is some uh, service module in cloud. So people will be calling like infrastructure as a service. You might have heard, right? You might have heard something like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, network as a service, and container as a service. Okay, we'll discuss about this one. Basically, if you understand this, right, if you understand this diagram, it will be very clear. In our traditional model, just I explained the TCS example, no? That is called as on-premises. On-premises is something which is hosted by that particular company. If I'm running one company, if I host my own resources, right, that is called as the on-premises. So in on-premises, what will happen, right? Just a second, I will erase everything. In on-premises, what will happen, right? You will be having, as I mentioned, like you will be having some networking, guys. Networking you will be having some storage, you will be having some physical servers, and you will be having the virtualization. And on virtualization, they will be installing some operating system. On top of operating system, you may have directly runtime or middleware. On that, you will be having some database and some applications. So all these will be maintained and run by the company itself, means you or the TCS. Okay, if end-to-end solution is taken care by the particular company by themselves, right, that is called as the on-premises. When you go to infrastructure as a service, right, what they will do, right, they will take own infrastructure. Means what? Infrastructure is something like storage, networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. Okay, so till this hypervisor level, cloud provider will take care. Okay, till this level, till they will provide some solution till that hypervisor. They will install the hypervisor from console or UI. Just you create the instance and use it. If you see, you manage and vendor manages. Vendor will be managing till virtualization. On top of it, you can choose your operating system, either you want Windows or Linux or anything, or Mac. From there you can install your own runtime, and from there you can install your own database and applications and all those. That is the infrastructure as a service. Let us assume for a simple example, what I will do, right, I'm launching one HR portal. Okay, means some like monster, like Naukri, right? I am launching one HR portal. Okay, now if it is an on-premises, right, I have to take care of end-to-end solution. I have to install everything. If it is infrastructure as a service, right, I will choose my OS. Okay, I will choose my OS, and I will choose my runtime, and I will choose my applications. Okay, now after some days, what happened, right, your HR portal got clicked. Okay, and there are like multiple people who want the same solution, so they are asking you to sell that software. Okay, Monster is having some software, like they are asking to sell that software with some good amount. So then Monster has decided to sell that software. If it is an infrastructure as a service, no, they have to build their own hardware. If I am buying from, if I want to install the software from that Monster kind of thing, no, till this one I have to procure, and they will be providing the instructions to install. Whereas if it is a platform as a service, what will happen, right, till runtime vendor will take care. Okay, till runtime vendor will take care, and you have to do only one thing, right, you have to install your applications and use it. Runtime in the sense, like if you are working on Java, they will be installing required operating systems and Java, whatever the version that is required. There will be some drop down which will be present, and you just select and use it. Okay, if you are working on some MySQL database, they will provide the environment to you. Just they will be providing the database names, just to you use it. Okay, if my HR portal is built on platform as a service, no, then they will be selecting what is whether it is Java or something, and they will untar that file. The installation is done. Okay, they will unzip the file, and they will just start, and they will use it. Okay, now if it is a software as a service, no, everything will be maintained by the vendor itself. You won't need to do anything. if my HR portal goes as a software solution, no, what I will do, right? I will do all this stuff, and just if someone asks me, right, I will take the payment, and I will be giving them one URL. Using that URL, they can log in and they can use it. That is the software as a service. For software as a service, you are having like this Word, MS Word, Excel. You are having Office 365 in cloud. No, these are all the software as a service examples. Okay, if you want second, yeah. So if I put it in the pictorial view, right? Infrastructure as a service means servers, networking, firewalls, and physical building and all those, right? This will be provided by the cloud provider. Whereas platform as a service means development tools, database management, operating systems. These will be provided by the cloud vendor. Whereas if it is a software as a service means everything will be provided by the vendor itself, means cloud provider itself. Just there will be one URL, you just sign in and you have to use it. If you see Dropbox and these are all the SaaS applications. If you buy some storage, they will just give one URL like Google Drive, OneDrive. Just you will sign in from your browser, you will be signing in and you will upload the documents like Google Photos, something like that. So there is some like here I have put some like content. Basically the same thing, like server, storage, and processor RAM that will be provided by the cloud vendor. Okay, just have to take this. Yeah. So server, storage, processor, RAM will be provided by the vendor where it is when it is in the infrastructure as a service. If it is a platform as a service, right, you will be having something like Java or .NET or any DB, right? Directly they will provide. If it is a something like a software as a service, right? They will just provide this like GoToMeeting, WebEx, and all those, right? Just you will have one link. If you click like, you will be using that service. Okay. In the recent times, right, there is one thing called as a container as a service. You might have heard about like this Kubernetes. Okay, Kubernetes and Docker and all those, right? Thus, though that comes under the container as a service. And there will be one thing as a network as a service. Network as a service is something like this one. Now you are having one office in India, okay, and you are having one office in US. Okay, whenever you try to access the resources, right, office resources in US, okay, ideally they should travel via internet and they should fetch the information, right? If you try to access any folder from US or any desktop there, ideally it should go via internet and you should be fetched the resource. What they will do, right, in this network as a service, right, they will be providing a secure connection between two data centers or offices or something, such that like it is basically used for the data transfer between two companies or two entities securely with high bandwidth and low latency network. That is the network as a service. Any doubts till now? First we'll start with basics and we'll go with the Azure concepts and all those. Any doubts till now? You can unmute and ask, or you can ping in the chat window. Okay. These are all like cloud. These are very like basics, like advantages of cloud computing. So basically, right, it will reduce the expense. Okay, these are like, do you want me to explain or like leave it? These are very simple, no? Do you want me to explain the cloud basic advantage and disadvantages, or move with the Azure? Just reply in the chat. Okay. Tell me, yaar, you want me to explain or not? If you want me to skip, now I can skip. Some people may get bored, right? Yeah, that's at least one. Yeah, explain. So actually, so advantages is like there will be two types of expenses in cloud. There will be like, if I'm running one project, like let us assume like I'm putting one startup. Okay, I'm setting one startup, and I want to get some infrastructure, right? If I want to install one if I am developing one application, no, then I need some development environment, I need one testing environment, I need some prod environment. So I have to at least get some 3 setups. Okay, if it is a support team, you will be having one more setup. And if I want, and if this hardware is like with good configuration, no, then a lot of money will be wasted. Okay, whatever the money which you are investing at one go, right, that is called as the capital expenditure. If each server is having some $10,000, $10K, if I'm having some 4 environments, no, I have to spend 40K. On top of it, I have to hire some engineers to do the cabling, to set up do the installation, and to take care of my network. Okay, and providing access, firewalls, and all those, right? So you need some 70K or 80K dollars. That is the one-time investment. And there will be variable cost. Variable cost is something like, for maintenance activities, you have to spend money. On day one, I have bought these machines for some 70K. Okay, on second month, no, I have to pay electricity charges, I have to pay for the rent, I have to pay for the engineers who are working on that infrastructure for making it healthy, and you will be having some support to team who will be taking care of that environment. So this is all variable cost. For cloud computing, as I mentioned, the infrastructure is maintained by the cloud itself. Means you no need to invest this much amount, this one lakh dollars or something, for building the infrastructure. If I want this, right, if I want to spin the server, no, ideally I will be paid some hundred or like a $100 per month, let us assume. Okay, per month I am consuming $100. Okay, I will be paying that $100 and I will be using that. Okay, if my startup is clicks and if I get revenue, right, then I will keep the server. If it is a flop, it doesn't work out, just I will terminate the services and I will close the company. So I won't have much losses. Whereas if I build the infrastructure and all those, right, I will be into losses. So cloud, the advantage of the cloud is pay as you go. Means whatever you use, you have to pay that. Okay, based on your usage only you will be paying, you won't pay for anything extra. Economics of scale. Economics of scale is, as I mentioned, I have put one startup. In that I have procured some, initially I have set up my server for some $10,000. I have got it. Okay, $10K or like $50K I have got. Now I am getting good customers. Okay, suddenly the customers increased, my load also increased. So one server is not going to withstand the load. what I have to do? I have to install one more server. For getting the new server and installing and all those, right? It will take at least 6 months to 8 months. Okay, first you have to order the hardware, then the shipment has to come, take place, and the vendor has to send the code. There will be like process, no? If you want to, in your company, I'm saying like if you want to procure one new machine, no, or new hardware, it will take 6 months to 8 months. If you order it now, after 5 months or 6 months, you will get it. There will be like multiple approvals. Okay, it will be a late process. Whereas in cloud, no, as just on with a click, you can spin one more instance. So it is very scale. Sorry, it is very easy, right? Okay, and you don't need to bother. Tomorrow, stop guessing the capacity is tomorrow. Even this second server also got full. Okay, this load also got full. Then I no need to bother. I can spin one more instance. Okay, as I mentioned, you know, if it is a physical hardware, it will take at least 6 months to get one server up and running, additional server. But with the cloud, I can go within minutes. If I have all the applications, everything in one image, you know, I can spin. Now you are having like container as a service and everything as a code, no? So you can spin your instances within minutes. Okay, so you don't need to bother about this maintenance of the data center and all those. Just you pay what for what you use. That is the advantage. Basically, most advantage is like you can take the like your project or your build to prod within short span. If you don't need to bother about the infrastructure. Today, right, they asked you to run in some environment which is Java, and some component will be developed in .NET. Okay, some will be developed in some legacy like Python, PHP or something, not this Perl and all those, no. So if you have a decoupled system which works on different thing, no, you can spin those environments in the cloud within minutes. Okay, and disadvantage is the downtime. One is like downtime is something any cloud provider will give 99.99% they will give the availability. Okay, mostly they will give like 99.99 or whatever, which will translate to 8 minutes or something. 8 minutes or 8 hours, I believe. 8 hours. This is totally 8 hours. If you take complete 1 year, it is expected like 8 hours the machine will be down. So let us assume Flipkart has hosted his application in cloud during that big billion day. Okay, 8 hours the system is down. Okay, then he has to accept the risk. He can't like Flipkart can't sue or he can't do anything to that cloud provider. Why? Because he in his agreement only, in SLA only, he has told like 99%, 99.99% will be the availability. Means 8 hours in an year can be the expected downtime. Okay, this is one thing. Now, next is the security and privacy. So if your data is present with you, that will be secured. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, priorly in cloud, the infrastructure is maintained by the third party cloud vendor in his own data center. Correct. So in cloud, this is my cloud. Okay, I'm having some retail application. Okay, e-cart application. Now I am having my credit card details of my particular all the customers who register or you do the online payment. You will be it will be asking like save card or something. No, so the DB will be present in the cloud and the data will be present there. Okay, so you won't have any control, just you have to listen to the cloud provider whatever he says, right? So that is one of the security and privacy. So let us assume like your data, simple example I will tell you. Okay, now I'm working in some Amazon. I know the physical data center or physical machine where your data is there. what I will do, right? And I know, right, it has credit card information. If I'm an employee of cloud, no, what I will do, I will just unplug that hard disk and I will get it to home. Correct, huh? That can also happen, no? But cloud providers will have their own encryption mechanisms to encrypt the data even when it is stored also. Okay, that will come to that will come in the later concepts. You, okay, so to prevent that, right, the cloud providers have their own mechanisms like certificates, and whenever the data is in rest also they will be encrypting, whenever it is in transit also they will be encrypting. So that will be handled properly by the all the cloud providers. And vulnerability to attack. So vulnerability to attack means like you are seeing these days, no, like your cloud machines are like, whenever it is hosted in cloud, right, it is open to everyone. Any hacker can try to attack, so it is vulnerable. Whereas if it is present in your data center means you will be having your own firewall rules and you will be having your own restrictions in that network, no. That is one thing. Limited control and flexibility. Limited control and flexibility is, now I am launching one application with some version 5.0. Okay, I am launching one uh, sorry, some MySQL with some, currently it is something like 11 or something, but when I worked it was like 5.6 or something. Okay, some. So now what the vendor will do, right, cloud provider will upgrade the packages like MySQL or whatever, Tomcat or Java or whatever, they will be upgrading periodically. So whenever he upgrades, right, you have to make our code compatible with that. Okay, sometimes what they will do, right, now 5.6 I don't think it is in MySQL 5.6 is not supported in some clouds. Okay, in Google Cloud you won't have this 5.6. Okay, so basically, right, what I decided, now I'm having one legacy application. There is a minimum revenue that is being generated in that machine, okay, from that server. So I will keep like that even for 10 years or 20 years. If it is a physical data center, I will leave it like that and I don't want to invest in it. But whereas in cloud, no, I have to definitely upgrade the systems and make it compatible. So I won't have any control. If the cloud provider upgrades, then I have to change my code or something. Vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in is something like, now what I have done, TCS, what it has done, they felt like per hourly I'm charged for one machine some $5 or something. So what this TCS has done, they have migrated the complete data center to cloud. 1 year, 2 years it was fine. After that, right, suddenly this cloud vendor, right, he has increased the triple the prices. He has tripled the prices. Means you have to pay it. There is no other go. Whenever you go to some cloud, okay, if there is any like increase in prices or something, right, you can't come out. That is called as the like vendor lock-in. Okay, this is the rare case. Cost concern is something like okay, cost concern in one example, if it is a long running project, okay, and it won't make sense, no, that if I tell that example also. If it is a long term, there is one scenario where for 1 year, no, you are spending some $50K, okay, for one server or one infrastructure. Okay, if you want to maintain it for 10 years, no, okay, then you will be charged something like $5 lakh or something. Okay, but the same hardware if you procure and maintain, no, it may become less also in long term. Okay, that is a rare case, but we can ignore that one. I can change my slide, just leave it. Okay, I will come to. So you will understand, like now you might have understood what is Azure. Azure is nothing but a cloud provider who will provide the computing resources, who will provide the infrastructure. Okay, so just give me a second. So Azure is one cloud provider. Okay, now there is something, this is the global infrastructure of Azure. So the Azure is present in these particular places. Okay, if you see whatever are in thick blue, right, these are the regions. Okay, and something like availability zones. I will explain what is region and what is availability zone. But if you see the presence of Azure, no, it is present something like US, Europe, and you are having in India, and I don't know this, and this is Australia. Okay, so if you see, right, one data center is present in, or one Azure data center is present in some US, and one is present in India, some in UK, okay, some in Australia. How they will be fast? Basically, they will be having some high bandwidth and low latency networks. So intercommunication between these data centers will be very fast because they will be connected, some like they will be having their own infrastructure, they will be having their own fiber optic cables, they will be having their own what to say, networks. Okay, that's why it will be faster. Okay, so first I have to, yeah, if you want to understand this, you should know what is region and all those. Yeah, I will go with the regions. So as I mentioned, here you will be having the Azure data centers at different places. So region is something like a geographical area. If you take India as one region, no, it is a geographical area where you will be having like multiple data centers. It can have one or more data centers. Okay, the basically the region is something like a place or a geographical location or a country or a region where it will be having it one or more data centers. If you say take India, right, you are having some 3 data centers over here: West India, Central India, and South India. Okay, likewise for US also. So you can take India as one region which is having some 3 data centers. Okay, that is region. So why we have these regions? No, there will be some compliance, right? Compliance requirements, like the data that is pertaining to one country should be stored only in that country. Means if I'm having operating some any retail application or social media, anything application, okay, like Twitter or something, as per the government rules, the data should be only present in India. So that's why they will be establishing these regions in that particular country. There are two advantages. One is like it will come it will satisfy the government rules, and if I host any application in that particular country, right, the latency will be very less. So now I'm installing one application. I'm a user from India. I'm a user from India. Okay, and I have two options. Okay, one option is something like I'm having two data centers. One region is India and another region is US. Okay, so if I host my application in India region, no, whenever someone tries to access that application, the request and response will come very fast. Okay, because my data center will be present in that particular country itself. But if I host the same application in the cloud in US, no, even there is some high bandwidth, high bandwidth connection and low latency network, but it has to go to this and execute your code, and it has to come back, no, which will add some latency to it. It can be 100 milliseconds or 50 milliseconds. Okay, here the milliseconds may be something like 50 milliseconds. Okay, or 10 milliseconds, whereas the latency from here would be something like 300 milliseconds. Then what will happen? The application will be slow. Okay, so basically what you have to understand, right? You have to understand, right? Azure, this is an Azure. Okay, Azure will be having multiple regions like US, India. Okay, something like that. Okay, so there is one thing called like a availability zone. Okay, as I mentioned, this is my region. Okay, in one region, where's my point? One second. Yeah, this is my region. Okay, one second. I will take a notepad. That is better. Now I'm having one region. Okay, this is Azure. Okay, so this is my region. Okay, in this region, I'm having one data center. I'll put here. This is my data center. In this data center, I will be having some hardware. In that hardware, I will be installing my operating systems. Okay, in that operating system, I will be installing my application. Okay, now let us assume like there is a failure. Okay, in this, what happened suddenly due to power failure or short circuit or like hardware failure, this machine went down. Okay, this hardware went down. Okay, in this particular data center, this hardware went down. Then my application is not accessible. Okay, so if I'm having only one location, yeah, if I'm having only one data center, then what will happen, right? If something happens to that, right, it will be like your application won't be accessible. Okay, this data center, right, will be called as AZ, availability zones. Okay, like yeah, this can be called as an availability zone. So if I have same infra like this, if I'm having, I will take a copy of this. Here this data center is failed. Okay, not data center, this hardware is failed. Okay, actually we should not call as data center going forward, we should call as a availability zone. Okay, this is availability zone. Okay, so let us assume my region is having two availability or two data centers. Okay, now in case this data centers goes down, right, if I have my application deployed in two availability zones or two data centers, if this one goes down, right, this will be able to serve the request. Okay, that is the availability zone. So availability zones are nothing but the separated data centers that exist in that reside within the one region. Okay, and what they will do, right? If availability zone 1 and availability zone 2 is there, right, they won't use the same resources, means they won't use the same power grid. If there is a power grid which is connecting, like if both the data center uses the same power grid, no, what will happen? If that power grid goes down, then network will be impacted. This both will be down, right? So that they will make sure, right, none of the availabilities will use the same resources. Even for internet also, if these users ABC network, they will so use DEF. If one uses Airtel, other uses Vodafone or some other network. Okay, so resource wise both are independent, such that any failure in one resource won't impact the other, and they will be having a good dedicated lines between these availability zones, such that uh, the response will be like, the request and response will be very fast. They will be having like high bandwidth and low latency, such that the inter communication sync will be very fast. This is the availability zone. Okay, next thing is something like a re regional pair. You know what is region? Okay, one region will have multiple availability zones. Availability zone is nothing but a physical data center, right? In India, right, let us assume if if I say one region as something like India, I can have my availability zone, one in Hyderabad, one in something like Mumbai, one in Chennai, something like that. Okay, if it is a regional pair, no, they will make sure like two regions. It is something like they will see like what are the regions which are nearer. If there may be some there will be some instances where if this complete region itself goes down, okay, let us assume if that complete not even data center or something, the region itself went down due to some cable cut in somewhere. Okay, network itself is down, so all the customers will get impacted. So this Azure has provided one solution such that you can deploy your applications in some regional pairs, means you can deploy your applications in two regions, such that if one region goes down also, other region would be able to cater that load. Okay, so if you see like US, Europe or Asia, okay, if you see US is far from us, like whereas Europe is okay, right? So what they will do, right, they will have some deployment, or they will have some solution that is installed in both the regions, that is called as the regional pairs. Okay, now if you want to access Azure, no, you have to install via, sorry, login via this URL. Okay, one second. portal.azure.com. Okay, so if you know the concepts of what is region, what is availability zone, then you will understand like what you are doing. Okay, so portal.azure.com will be the site where you have to access. Okay, basically, right, whenever you want to go create an account, right, basically you have to provide your that will be self-explanatory only. Like you have to provide your email ID, you have to use your password, or you have to create your own password, and you have to add your credit card details. Okay, such that your Azure account will get created. So this site is something like that. portal.azure.com. Okay, this will be the URL for creating the Azure account. Okay, once we log into that Azure account, right, it will be looking something like this. Okay, so there will be like lot many services. In my example, I told, you will be having something like networking, you will be having hardware, you will be having storage, multiple components that will be maintained. So, once again, my PPT. I told, you will be having something like applications, networking, storage, servers, virtualization, middleware, runtime, and all those. In on-premises, you have to manage. When you go to cloud, the cloud provider will offer infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service from single console. So from one console, you will be able to create all these infrastructures, and all these will be present as a services. Okay, so if you want to create a virtual machine, you will be having something like a virtual machines. Okay, so if you want to create, you can create. This one will take 1 hour, so tomorrow we will continue. Basically, right, today what you need to understand, right, you have to understand this one. While creating any virtual machine, you will provide one name and you will be selecting something like a region. So today what you have learnt is, right, you will have multiple regions. Okay, in that regions, if I select any region, I will be having one option called as, okay, for trial account, right, you won't have access to all. In availability zones, you have to select any availability zones. Means this is data center 1, data center 2, data center 3. This is what you learnt. If you want that real like practical, what you have understood, you will be having one region. Means in which location you want to create, either in US East or US East to 2. Okay, basically you are having some 60 plus regions. If I go to this, right, you will be having 60 plus regions in Azure. Okay, and some are coming up. Okay, 1 second. Not here. Sixty plus regions, and there will be one page. Some are coming up. Actually, they are building some new yeah, products per region. Yeah, so these are the services basically. As I mentioned, you will be having something like compute or containers or databases, and this service will be pertaining to some regions. So if you see, can India, you can see Asia Pacific. If I select here, okay, here I am having two options: East Asia and Southeast Asia. Okay, so it will display in East Asia. It will offer something like Azure, Databricks, machine learning. Okay, and there is something like machine learning studio. This service is present in East Asia, but in Southeastern Asia it is not there. So it is not mandatory, like all the service will be present in all the regions. So you have to go to the documentation and check like which service is available where. Okay, so if you go to, like, people will be more confident on this databases. In databases, there will be like multiple databases. If you see, there is something like Azure SQL, Azure Cosmos DB, MariaDB. So these are like, these many databases are present. Okay, in that I will take something like Azure Data Factory. It is present in both. Okay, I thought to choose a service which is present only in one. Yeah, if you see, Azure cached for Redis. Redis is not present in this East Asia, and whereas it is present in the Southeast Asia. So something like that. Okay, and they are building new regions and new availability zones, like each cloud provider like Azure or like Amazon, right? They are like competing like to build. So you might have get one doubt, which cloud you have to go. Normally there are like a Google Cloud and Azure, Amazon, okay, or Azure, sorry, like Azure, or like if you see most of the market share, right, it is between Azure and the AWS. So AWS is having like far more, but Azure is coming up. In which one who will go for even though everyone provides everything, no, each, as I mentioned now, each cloud provider will provide infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. For infrastructure as a service, AWS is the leader, means he is having more market. Okay, features wise and all those, right, people are going with AWS. If you want platform as a service, right, Azure will suit you. It is better based on the need. Now everyone, there is a lot of competition and everyone are doing good job. Okay, so if your requirement is infrastructure as a service, or the for infrastructure as a service, right, AWS is the one the customers are preferring, whereas if it is a platform as a service, people are preferring Azure. Okay, I think, yeah, so I'm done for today. We'll meet at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. Any doubts before I close? How was the session? Like I will start with initially I will start with the basics, and it will take 20 days or something, 20 to 25 days. Basically, right, cloud is like it's an vast. Okay, each is for each specialization you will be having different. It is, it doesn't mean like everyone will be working on all the services. If you are a DB guy, you will be working only on DB. Okay, if you are working on something like storage and all those, you will be working on storage only. If someone is working on some deployment using some Terraform or something, they will be working on that only. Okay, yeah, mobile number can't be given. Okay, we have the Telegram group. No, I will be reachable there. Okay, thanks. Yeah, weekend also I will be. Weekend it won't be there. It will be in the morning hours and weekend. I will let you know based on my availability. No cost here. This is.